Have you felt lately that the grind is so hard that it's almost feeling overwhelming? In this video, I want to talk to you about pressure versus peace and how you can build something, anything, that won't cost you your life and your soul to keep it alive. I'm so excited you get to join me for one more video, our Faith Collective, and we can actually spend some time together. I've been meditating a lot on this particular theme lately because I did have a moment this week in which I was feeling pressure to make a decision. And I realized that that pressure was an indication that God was not on it. But yet, I was to lean into God's peace and truly find out what was the Lord wanted me to do at that particular moment. So I had a trip that was planned, and all of a sudden there was a snowstorm in town, and I felt rushed to get on this plane and go to my destination where I was going. But when I dial it back a notch, I realized that, hold on a moment, I'm doing this out of pressure. And when doing things out of pressure, the outcome is going to be completely different. And when you start out of pressure, it's going to take a whole lot more pressure to keep it going. So I have a couple of scriptures that I want to share with you, and also just lead you down this path and share with you how you can build anything that will last a lifetime. And the first scripture I want to share with you is Psalms 127. And it says, unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Unless the Lord builds the house, those who labor are laboring in vain. And is I'm sure many of you have heard this countless times, but often when we integrate this scripture in our daily lives, we could realize that we are pursuing different things. We are striving to do different things when in reality God, it's no longer on that one thing that we are striving to get done. And it's very easy for many reasons to stay grinding, just pure grit, chasing something, when in reality you can tell God's grace is no longer there. And now is more pressure added, trying to sustain something that was not birthed out of peace, but it was birthed out of pressure. So if we see Matthew as well, just to see a good illustration in the New Testament, Matthew 7:26 and 27. It says that everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And it's funny how the scriptures compare those who build a structure, a dream, a company, a future on the sand to a foolish man, because any moment the wind blows, any moment a storm comes, any moment there's any opposition, that house will be torn down. It will be completely destroyed. And on the other hand, he applauds and he exalts the man who builds on the rock. In my opinion, when you build on pressure, you are building on the sand. When you build on pressure, you are building on the sand, and it's just a matter of time before the house collapses. It's just a moment. It's time. Is a time bomb just ticking, and any moment, if you are building on pressure, that house could collapse. So you're saying, Frank, then where should I build? How should I build? In my opinion, you can build anything from a place of peace, and then grace is more than enough to sustain the dream that you are building, the company that you are building, often as I speak to business owners, I remind them the importance of building from peace, not from pressure. Because pressure it will lead you to urgency, and then you keep it running, and you have to keep maneuvering to sustain something that only can be sustained by the grace of God. I've seen it. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in different organizations, different leaders that I speak into their lives. It's so key when you learn to build from the right place. And let me just share these 3 points with you that are just connected with these verses that I'm sharing. And let's pause and meditate for a moment and see how you could build. When you look at the foundation, it must come from a place of peace. When you build, don't build out of pressure, don't build out of need, don't build out of stress, don't build out of anxiety, because it's going to take so much more of that one thing to sustain it. And that's not what you want, because that will destroy your family eventually. That will destroy your ministry, your company, your own personal life. Let me just put this phrase out there. If if God didn't build it, you're gonna have to bleed out to sustain it. If God didn't build it, it's going to cost you your life, your health, your family, and eventually it will destroy you because God wasn't on it. There was so much of men's strength, there was so much of your own strength involved that there is a moment in which you reach exhaustion and you are wondering if that will look like obedience. Not really. That's completely different. And if God doesn't build it, if God is not on it from the get, then it's just going to be you bleeding out to keep the company alive, to keep that family alive. So, how about we bring God into the picture? How about we bring God's voice into the picture? How about we build from peace instead of pressure? And that can make the difference all around in a company, in a family, decisions that we make in our own personal lives. Where are you making those decisions from? What's leading you to make that decision? What's the reason behind that decision? What's the motive behind it? And let me just make 3 points here in this video for the Faith Collective, and I'm hoping that they could resonate with you, and I'm really hoping that you could learn something. Every week we put out new videos, so you can just go ahead and tap on that subscribe button when you're done. Share this video with someone. I'm pretty sure that they could, someone that could benefit from it. Point number one, first thing I want to point out: pressure build things demand constant effort. Gosh, don't I know this? Pressure build things demand constant effort. When you build something based on pressure, it's gonna be demanding so much out of you that it will eventually bring you to the point of exhaustion. Your body is keeping score. Your body is watching, is following for the moment, but there will be a time in which the house will collapse, the company will collapse, the individual will collapse, the marriage will collapse, because for too long you've been building on pressure. Gosh, it's gonna demand way too much effort. That's not how you want to build. That's not how you want to build a company. There is a better way to leadership. There is a better pathway to greatness, to victory, to what God showed you, to the dream you had, to the idea that you had. Number two, God build things are sustained by grace, not by grit. God built things are sustained by grace and not by grit. I seen it in my life. I seen it so many seasons, things that I was doing that I realized that it was just grit, it was just pressure. God wasn't on it. There was no grace for it. And when that grace is no longer there, it's a perfect indication to go back and say, hold on a moment, what was this one thing built on? Whatever God builds, there's grace. It's sustained by grace. And then finally, persistent exhaustion might be an invitation to re examine the source. Consistent, persistent exhaustion. You are exhausted. I'm completely exhausted, Frank. You have no idea. Let's go back to the source. What happened here? How did we build it? Where did we build it on? And now you finally reach a point where you understand that all this time you've been laboring in vain. Perhaps, my friend, that's how you felt the last few weeks. That's how you feel maybe now as you watch this video. Perhaps this is resonating with you because you go, Frank, I feel like my company is collapsing, my marriage, my life. I really don't know where to go. I want you to take a moment. There's a room to breathe here. There's a room to pause here and say, hold on a moment. Maybe I really need to invite God into this picture. Maybe I need to redesign how I build from now on. Maybe this is the moment to learn a valuable lesson. I learned it in 2020. My life changed. It was a pivotal moment for me. It's the biggest pivot of my entire life because I realized I had been building. I was building on sand. I was building on pressure, trying to sustain things by my own strength and by my own hands. And I realized that I was failing at it until my body collapsed. And then I said, hold on a moment. There's got to be a different way. And I love the opportunity that God has given me now to build from a place of peace. And that's what I pray for you, my friend. That's what I pray for you as you watch this video. That's what I pray for your family, for your children, for your company, that you could build it on the rock, that you could build it on the Lord's strength, that you could build it on His wisdom, that you could build it on Him, on His knowledge, that you could build your company, that you could build your family, not from a place of pressure, but from a place of peace. Because the peace of God is able to keep you, is able to sustain you and lead you for the rest of the journey and lead you along the way. I really prayed for you today, pray for you. And my desire is that you can see this, analyze this, and say, you know what, Frank, I have to make changes. It's never too late to make changes and to redirect your attention and to re-emphasize how you're gonna run your life, how you're gonna do business, how you're gonna carry yourself. It's a good moment to pause and to embrace the peace of God and to begin to build from that place. Let's build our homes, our companies, our marriages on the rock. And let's continue to go back to the source and say, who's feeding this? Who's keeping this? Who's moving this forward? Is it I or is it the Lord? Allow me to pray for you today. Father, I take a moment to pray for my friends that are watching, those who are tuning in, those who are watching this video on their way to work, on their cars or at home on their cell phones. May they embrace the peace of God that goes beyond all understanding and is the perfect thing upon which we can build. We build upon the rock. His name is Jesus. He is the peace giver. He is the one who gives us peace that circumstances and situations cannot take away. That's who I want to build on. That's what I want to build on. And that's what I pray for you today, my friend. As you watch this video, I pray for the peace of God to overwhelm your heart, and let it be the place that you could begin to build from. And you'll see how things can start turning and God can start moving, because He's definitely the author and the giver of peace. Thank you very much for watching. Share this video with someone that could benefit from it, and I can't wait to see you next time.